Hello there folks, I'm Dan Brown from asortofinterestinlife.com and amazingly I've been writing in my absolutely beloved Midori Traveller's Notebook for over a year now, and of course in true Dan Brown fashion and just showing my organisation, insert file of facts shot, and my amazing ability to organise things, I've gone and left all of my previous diaries and little notebook inserts that I've put and used over that year at my mum's house. So unfortunately this video is going to heavily depend on the miracle of editing to, in a moment, cut to my mum's house and we'll have a proper look at this. And here we are, we have got the Midori and this absolutely lovely selection of scout books inserts here, another Midori one on the end there, but these are all of my general journals that were just mentioned, which I'd left here at my old bedroom at my mum's house. Anyway, let's dive in. I've done several videos of a similar nature to this, so I'm not going to labour the point for anybody who's already seen it, but what we will do in just a second, after we've had a quick look at how I use the Midori, is just have a few little moments from times gone by in the last year. So, this is my Midori, the Traveller's Star Edition, and as you may be able to tell, it has got all sorts of scratches and wears and watermarks and goodness knows what else all over the back here. I use this as my wallet, if I can try and get this in focus for you here. You can see we've got the general Traveller's Star limited edition print there, and as you can see it's had a fair old, I don't know whether I would say a rough time and abuse over the last year, but it's certainly been literally, and I mean literally, up mountains and down mines with me. If you fetch that back into focus there. And like I say, I've used this as a wallet. I've got one of the wallet inserts, so normally my driving licence and bank cards would be in there. A little bit of money, hopefully some notes in the back there if I'm lucky. And then the back one I use for general little receipts or trinkets, or in this case at the moment it's just got a few of those round dot stickers. How I use this in general is I have one book, as you can see, this is the September 2014 diary that I'm just about to start. One book, as you can see, as my general journal, and one book as a normal standard. This is just the simple lined notebook. Check everything is in focus for you. Lovely. And back to it. And what I use this for is the front, just making general notes, and most of the time just random little things like notes for boat trip commentary video, why I love walking video, and all that sort of stuff in general. Just general notes and useful things that I want to make sure I don't forget. And of course, using this as a wallet, that makes it very handy to just, because it's always with me, as you've seen from the cover, it makes it very handy to be able to just go, oh yeah, right, must make sure I do a video on that, or must make sure I mention this at some point. So I can just note it down nice and quick. And the back, working from the back to the front, I just use it for general shopping lists and things like that. Once again, very quickly, just for people who haven't seen, what I used to have in here as a full-time thing was the free diary, which is basically a month-to-view diary with no information or dates filled in. And this, because I live on a boat and you have to move every 14 days maximum, I use this as a general thing to keep records of where I've been and when I've been there, just for my own personal records really. But as you can see, the fact that this is the free diary means that when it comes to times when I'm in a marina or something like that, I mean that's last October for you for example, but when it comes to times when I'm in a marina or on a paid winter mooring and obviously don't need to move the boat and don't need to keep a record because the boat isn't moving, or not moving much, then I don't have to waste months and pages of this, because it's just you fill in the months whenever you want. So you get to October, then winter mooring starts, and I might miss out 5 months completely, turn the next page, and suddenly it's April. So that's very handy, but I realised after carrying it around with me an awful lot that I didn't need constant reference to that information, so that I still fill in but keep as its own separate thing. And my goodness me, look at those. Oh, I absolutely love these notebooks. These are from Scout Books. They're 32 pages and they've got quite thick paper in them. But as you can probably tell from the selection there that I've used, I really do enjoy these books a tremendous amount. So, the story all started back with September 2013, and this is where I was first sort of getting back into keeping a regular diary and journal, so I was putting in just all sorts of random things as you would expect. And as you can see, these have got plenty of pages in. I'm not sure how many pages these ones have got. And I was, again, trying to use a fountain pen and trying to do drawings. My first attempt at getting into line drawings and things like that. I've shown these little pages to people before, and as you can hopefully see, I'll just check once again that the lighting is okay there. Yeah, lighting and focus seems just about alright. As you can see, my original sketches weren't great at all. That was meant to be a path going over a sort of tree, bushy hilltop, which didn't go well. So yeah, I just keep things like random train tickets and bits like that. And as you can see, I was writing very small and trying to cram in as much detail about everything as possible. And just throwing in some of these small things. That's the view through the window of a boat coming towards me and all of that sort of general stuff. So that was how it started off, and I absolutely loved it. Over that first few months from September to December, I was generally keeping up to date and keeping little bits here and there, and as you can see, writing very small, keeping an awful lot of detail of various things going on. I'm not sure if I've got any drawings in this one. Ah yes, St. Martin's. That's the image pretty much that became the cover of my second narrowboat book, The Narrowboat Lad Living the Dream, for anybody who's interested. And as you can see, there's the top of the boat, and that's the canal going off, and a few fences in the fields. And that's really what I've enjoyed doing, is just doing these little sketches at completely random moments. I'm not sure if there's any more, but we don't need to labour the point. So then, when we got to January, I don't know what exactly happened. I'd been, over that time, writing that second book that I just mentioned. And I don't know if at the start of this year, from January to March, I got all into one book. But I sort of just fell off and started being quite lazy, because I suppose I was focusing a lot on the videos. If anybody's seen my video, The Narrowboat Lad, just The Narrowboat Lad, it's a short film that I made, and it was things like that that were taking up a lot of my time. Once again, I was keeping the writing nice and small though, and that's once again the view through the window at the side of the canal, very wavy there. And again, you can see as time's gone on, I wasn't writing loads of stuff in this, obviously, but what I was writing and the days that I was noting down, I was keeping an awful lot of detail of. Oh, right, moving swiftly on. April to May. Let's have a look. I was going to use this as a poetry book, but in the end decided not to. And as you can see, April and May all wrapped up into one notebook, as usual. Oh, have I not got any drawings in this? Again, I was trying to get... Ooh, May is here already. Let's try something different. A few lines a day. And I was trying these different ideas, but they never seemed to quite work out. And I was trying whether to write, as you saw in the early days, an absolute ton of stuff and keeping as much of it as possible on every day possible. But then here you can see I started doing just these little ones here, and like random days when me and my friend were out on the boats travelling up the Montgomery Canal, and then another friend turned up. And these are the things that I really love having the records of to look back on. Oh, I can't believe that, as you can see again, 7th of May, had another windy and hard trip up through the locks, blah blah. 9th of May, walked to Ellesmere from Tetchell, first walk to Ellesmere of the season, another lovely day. 13th of May, and so I was just keeping these random little sections of writing for each day until, I haven't got any pictures at all in that. That's a disappointing one. But when you come to these last few months, and hopefully September as well, you can see each book has started to be 1 month per book. Even June, where I'd actually thought it was going to turn out to be June to July. But as it's turned out, June, July and August have all got their own entries. And sooner or later, let's have a look. Trip up to me nan and granddad's caravan, getting out on the sea on the kayak and look across the mountains and hills there. I think that somewhere is in one of these. October, is it? Yes, this is one of the comparisons that I like to make. That was my picture that I drew of the same view but from up a mountain, whereas this was down the mountain and just out into the sea looking across to Barmouth there. But it shows how I kept trying to do these simple line drawings and stuck with it. And what we're about to see in a little moment is the latest evolution of that. And there, have I got anything else? But you can see these still kept with small writing and filling in a lot more information on these days. Once again, swapping between that pen and this that I also like to write with, a Lamy Vista. This is basically the Lamy Safari fountain pen, but in clear. You can see through the clear body. This has got a green ink filled piston cartridge in there. So that I'm a huge fan of, as you're seeing with all this green writing dotted around. Oh, one picture, that's poor. Random Alton Towers ticket there. Oh well, there you have it. No pictures really there then. Anyway, moving on to July. We're almost here. Hopefully you've been enjoying this video. If not, then I can only apologise. Oh yes, lost a page there because I tore a page out to give to somebody from the back. And this is where, once again, you can start to see that I'm using this a lot more, and this is why the months are getting one book each. You can write, well, with a 32-page book, minus the pages using for drawing, that's just over 1 page per day. As you can see, I was getting, well, I really have got into it over the last couple of months. And this here is the first ever attempt at doing a drawing sketched in pencil, and then just a little bit of colour added from my absolutely wonderful, this is a Waterman, I think, is it? I don't know. Winsor & Newton Cotman miniature watercolour set. Absolutely love this. And what I use in general, because this is a very, very handy tool to have, is one of these water brushes, where basically the body's filled with water, so you can squeeze it to drop water out, or just use the brush as a brush. And because of the water in the body, it's constantly damp. So that's something that I'm really enjoying. And you'll see a little bit more from that as we look through this book, I think, and the next one. So yeah, that's the trig point on top of a mountain after me and my friends went out to Yorkshire, climbing up a few mountains. And again, like I say, this has all been really getting back into it and writing a good little section per day. And of course, if there's days where there's not much happening, then there's no need to really push things and try and fill in pages if there's nothing interesting to say or no little things that you want to note down for future reference. And finally, what? How many minutes are we on? 12 minutes. I can only apologise if you've been listening to this for 12 minutes. I hope you've enjoyed it. Getting to August, I have been going through, once again, my same concept of trying to write a lot, but sometimes not loads about each day. For example, 3rd and the 4th, work days, nothing crazy happened. So that's the 3rd and 4th of August sorted out and summed up. Let's have a look, what have I got? Right, so this was another attempt at using my watercolours, but I strayed away from just using tiny little amounts of it and tried to do a full picture in watercolour, which, as you can see, didn't work out. That's meant to be the top of the boat over the Brown Canal, then going obviously through a bridge there, but it just really did not work out, and I'm very, very disappointed with that. Let's have a look, what else have we got? Now this one I really like. It's not necessarily the best picture in the world, but as you can see, this is meant to be looking over Ellesmere, which is basically a big lake. So you've got a fallen tree in the mere itself. Obviously got the sky reflected on the water there and the trees on the far bank, clouds up in the sky. And of course you've got reeds, little flowers, all the usual things. And that was returning to using just a little bit of colour, not loads of colour to try and make thick lines and make objects that are solid. So that's something that I'm trying to keep with. If we just have a look. Yes, this again. This was my attempt at trying to do more colour in a picture, but keeping it as a very simple series of, right, this is a field, this is the hedge, this is the canal reflecting the sky. And as you can see, again, it's returned to that poor attempt that I made earlier of doing too much colour. Now, I'm not tremendously happy with this, but the one thing that I did like with it was this is a holiday boat that I got to move down the canal with a new friend I made at the marina, and this is the top of the boat. And what I did after I'd sort of ruined it by putting too much colour and too much paint down was just to go over with a pencil and give the top of the boat some thick lines. And I quite like that. If I'd have intended to do it from the start, so I could have give a really faint bit of colour to everything, but then gone over it and give it really thick, bold lines to edge everything. And that's something that I'm going to be doing a lot in the future, hopefully. And hopefully that will turn out to give a better image sometime in the next book, or the next notebook here. Anyway, I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. On that note, that's a good point to stop in August. As you can see, I've used it an awful lot. I absolutely love my Midori, and without notebooks, a Midori is merely a piece of leather, but my goodness me, I'm making the most of it. It's with me all the time, 1 year later, and I love it. And back to me on the boat. So thank you very much for watching. If you're interested in more general papery bits and pens and goodness knows what else, then check out all my other videos. I've got tons of different notebooks and all sorts of stuff from all over the world, such as the Midori and Scout Books inserts that you've seen me using. Anyway, subscribe for plenty of boat life and general outdoorsy things. Feel free to like the Facebook page and even add me personally on Facebook and Twitter for tons of general photos and updates from life out here on the canal. And of course, as always, please do feel free to check out my narrowboat books for the Kindle. Only £1.53 each. You may be particularly interested, if you've been watching this video, at my latest book, A Narrowboat and a Notebook, which does heavily take various little quotes and clippings from my previous diaries and things from this very Midori. So that's A Narrowboat and a Notebook, £1.53. But more importantly, I suppose, we'll move on and say thanks for watching, have a fantastic day, all the best, and farewell.